Welcome everyone. I'm going to show you how to install R and RStudio. So firstly, to install R and RStudio, you'll need to download it and install them in the following orders. Firstly, you'll have to install R and then RStudio. So firstly, you'll install the R language, and RStudio is a graphical user interface which you will use, which you will write your code in, which you will save, and which you will see your output from the code that you have written. So just open up any web browser, just type in R, download. So it should be www.rproject.org. So just go here. So it's very simple to download R. So I suggest just choose the Australian one. It doesn't really matter which one. So download the one that is for your operating system. So for me, I'm Windows user. I'll download R and just select the base and select download, and just give it a couple of seconds to download. And once that's downloaded, you'll install it and just leave all the default settings. And after you've done that, you should be able to see here that you've downloaded R. So if you go to R, so you'll see it here, you'll see one of these R. You'll not be using these. So now that you've installed the language, you'll install RStudio. So it's just the same thing again. So RStudio and download. So it should be this website here. So just go there. We're going to go to products, open source, RStudio. So we're going to download the desktop version, the freeware version. So the free one again, and this should be automatically for your operating system. However, there should be one for every operating system there is available at the moment. So if you're using a Mac, download from Mac, Linux, then there's Linux versions. So just download it. And I have actually already downloaded both R and RStudio, so I'm not going to install them again. So from now on, when I refer to R or RStudio, I'm actually referring to RStudio. So I am saying look for RStudio. And when you first open RStudio, you should be able to see only these three panels. So this is up here, just tells you which version of the R language you have. So this is the latest one at the time. So this is your console. It's like a calculator. You can type in 2, whatever, 2 plus 2, and you'll get 4. However, this is not where you'll save your code. So if you want to create a script that you'll download later and save it, you can either click this button here, new file, or you can go to here, new file. You'll see there's many types of files that you can create. However, we are just going to go to our script. And here is where you'll type what you will actually save. So anything you type here will be saved. Okay. This panel over here is where you'll see all the files or the data sets that you have actually loaded or not loaded. So here's your history of your commands. So if you have forgotten what commands you have done in the past, they will be here. If you're connected to an SQL server, you'll see the connections here, if there's any, if they are connected, if they are disconnected. Tutorials. So you can go here and learn more about how RStudio works. Files is where your current directory is. Plots, if you make any plots, they should show up here. Packages, I'll get to very soon. So what packages are, Packages are just libraries or code that people have written or that have come with R base that you will load. So not all of them are loaded when you actually start Rstudio. And there's several other panes that, for example, for support. So let's just get started very quickly. So since you're a beginner or you've never coded in R before, if you want to comment, just hit the hash and say this is a comment. So this is not a piece of code. So if you're new, there's two ways to run this. You can either press this button, select this, and press run. So the way R works is it runs line by line. So if you want to do, for example, 2 plus 2 plus 2, you'll select that and you'll run it. And down here you'll get your output. So these can be moved, these can be changed however you like. For example, if I want to put X, I use an equal sign because I actually learned a different language before I learned R. So you'll see most people use the following. So this is really the same, and you should see these in your environment. So the value of X is equal to 4. If I change this to Y, and then I run this again, you'll have X is equal to 4, and this should be Y is equal to X there. So because I've actually learned another language before, for me it's much easier just to do equals instead of that. In many online tutorials you'll see that being used. It's just a habit that I've actually never broken, and that is pretty much it. So I'll show you some very important steps, and this is if you're completely new. Is firstly tools. There's some options here. If you don't like the color that you'll see when you first install it, will probably be all white. You can change it here in under appearances, editor theme, etc. So just have a look which one you like the best. And zoom. So just play around with them. So best practices are, this is really important. So every time you write anything, it's best to comment what you're actually doing. So a week from now, you come back and look at this, you actually know what you have done or what you are doing. So let's say I want to install a library. Install a library. You do not always have to do this. However, I extremely recommend that you do this. So there's several ways to install a library. So I'm going to install a very popular library. So you can do it this way. So I want to install Tighter. So and just run that, and you'll see you'll actually install a lot of them. And if you want to check which packages are installed, you can just go to here, and these are all your packages. Because this is not the first time I've actually installed packages, I actually have a lot of packages installed. So you only need to install a package once. You do not need to install it every time. However, every time you start a new script, you'll actually have to load the library. So for example, one of the most popular libraries for making graphs is ggplot. So load library. So this is something that you have to do every single time. So for example, library ggplot2. This is a very popular one for doing plots. So you can see that I actually did not select it all and click that. It's because I've actually made shortcuts. If you want to make shortcuts, you can just modify them here and make your own shortcuts. So my shortcut to run this is just go anywhere along the line and just hold Control and press Enter, and it'll run. So I suggest to work quickly. You learn very quickly how to do shortcuts, depending how you've actually used a different language before or what works best for you. So this only has to be run once. Sorry, this has to be installed once. However, this has to be loaded every single time you actually open up R. So here you can clear your settings. So you can remove your X and your Y. Just click that. Or you can just do RM and you can do X. But because there's no X, this code will not run. So I'm just going to quickly show you how to load a data set. Okay, so there's many ways to load a data set. You can do it by hand. So I'm just going to call it data. You can call it whatever you want. Read.csv. This is where I've actually saved a certain data set. So data diamonds.csv. As you can see, CSV is the same as this. CSV just means comma separated value. It looks very similar to an Excel sheet, however they are not the same. And it's very important that you actually, if you are new to programming and new to R and Excel, you should learn what a CSV is. CSV is just means comma separated value. That means it's just one sheet and that is all. There's no tabs. So if I just run that, you'll see now there's a data set over here. I can quickly just see, okay, caret, so these are just diamonds, color, caret, cut, color, clarity, depth, etc. I can also just click that and it'll show me how it actually looks like. So that is just one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is this way. Import data set. So for a CSV file, you can just go to this, find your data set. So my data set is the same location that you would have seen before. So C data diamonds. So I'm just going to look for my diamonds data set. So let's see. Yep. And as you can see, this is a very clean data set. However, if it's not clean, you can change these settings here and you can rename your data set to something else. So this data set is actually going to be called diamonds, but I can change to diamonds too. And I'm just going to import that. In the real world, this is not always the case. And when you go back to your script, you'll see it's actually run here like this. And now you'll have two equivalent data sets and they're the same. One is the one I did it by hand, the other one I did it by using the interface. So in the next chapter, I want to show you how to start to make some visualizations. I'm going to show you a little bit more basic things that you need to know how to use R. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your time and see you all later.